Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on aviation communications. And our guide, it's the actual maintenance manual for a Boeing 737.
So let's think about this for a second. While you're up there watching a movie, there's this whole other world of unseen conversations happening. It's this incredible invisible web that keeps the plane connected and, safe. Yeah, and that's what we're going to do in this explainer. We're going to trace that entire network, starting right inside the cockpit and going all the way out to satellites way up in orbit. We're going to see how all these amazing systems, straight from the jet's official docs, actually make this whole thing work.
All right, first things first, let's start with the plane's own internal nervous system. I'm talking about how everyone on board, and even the crew on the ground right beside the jet, all stay perfectly in sync. So what's the secret? It's something called the interphone. And it's not just one thing. It's actually two separate systems working together. You've got the flight interphone for the pilots to talk to the ground crew, and then there's the service interphone that links up everybody else, like the cabin attendants. This is what makes all that coordination look so easy, from getting the plane ready at the gate to serving drinks at 35,000 feet.
Okay, so how do the pilots manage all this chatter? Well, the command center for every single sound is this thing right here, the Audio Control Panel, or ACP. You can honestly think of it as the pilot's master switchboard. Every single audio source, interphones, radios, you name it, it all gets routed right through here.
And what's cool is how simple it is to use. A pilot just selects the system they want to listen to, see? Then they tweak the volume with this little knob here, and when they're ready to talk, they just hit a push-to-talk button, either on the control wheel or their mic. It's such a simple, tough design that you know is going to work no matter what. Okay, so that's inside the plane. Let's expand our bubble now and look at the next layer out, talking to the ground. This is where we get into the really powerful radios that link the 737 with air traffic control. And the absolute workhorse for that job is VHF radio. It's super clear, but, and this is a big but, it has one major catch. It's line of sight. That means if the plane's antenna can't physically see the ground station's antenna, poof, the connection's gone. So it's perfect when you're near an airport or flying over land, but for crossing a huge ocean, not so much. Right. So what do you do when your 737 is out over the middle of the ocean, thousands of miles from the nearest radio tower? Your VHF is useless out there. Line of sight is just not going to happen. This is where long-range communication systems are not just nice to have, they are absolutely critical. I mean, without them, flying over oceans or remote areas just wouldn't be possible, at least not safely. The plane would be totally, completely on its own. And this chart really spells out the classic solution perfectly. If VHF is your high-quality, short-range walkie-talkie, then its big brother, high-frequency, or HF radio, is like one of those powerful global shortwave radios. It's built specifically to talk over the horizon. And how it does that is just its pure genius. HF signals get beamed up towards the sky, and they hit the ionosphere, this layer of charged particles in the atmosphere. It acts like a giant mirror in the sky. The signal bounces off it and comes back down to Earth thousands of miles away. It's the skip effect that gives HF its unbelievable range. But HF can be a bit crackly sometimes, so for top-tier quality and reliability, modern 737s use SATCOM. Now, instead of bouncing a signal off the atmosphere and hoping for the best, SATCOM just shoots it straight up to a satellite. That satellite then zaps it back down to a ground station. The result? Crystal clear, high-quality voice and data pretty much anywhere on the globe. But here's the thing. It's not all just about voice, people talking to people. The airplane itself is constantly talking. It's sending and receiving this nonstop stream of automated data that is absolutely essential to the flight. And that brings us to the plane's digital data network. This is the stuff that's humming away silently in the background, a constant digital handshake that keeps the airline and air traffic control in the loop every second of the flight. So this system has a name. It's called ACARES. And the easiest way to think about it is like text messaging for the airplane. It's just sending these short digital messages using whatever's available. VHF, HF, or SATCOM, and it's sending all sorts of stuff. Automated position reports, updates on engine health. I mean, think about it. It can send a message about a weird vibration so maintenance knows about it before the plane even lands. It also gets weather updates and even flight clearances from air traffic control that can be plugged right into the flight computer. Okay, let's recap. We've got interphones, VHF, HF, SATCOM, ACARS. That is a lot of different streams of audio and data. So how on earth does the plane manage all of it? How does it make sure the right information gets to the right person at exactly the right time?
Well, here's the key. It all comes down to one central hub, the absolute brain of the operation, the Remote Electronics Unit, or REU. This box right here, this is the plane's true nerve center. Every single audio signal we have talked about gets routed through and managed by this one unit.
But the RU does way more than just handle phone calls and radio chatter. It's also in charge of feeding the most critical, life-saving sounds directly into the pilot's headsets. I'm talking about things like traffic collision alerts, those terrain warnings, even wind shear alerts. They all come through the REU, which guarantees the pilots hear them loud and clear instantly.
And one last thing. Because it's the central hub for all cockpit audio, the REU sends a direct line out to the cockpit voice recorder. You know, the black box. So that box is constantly recording the last 120 minutes of everything said by the captain, the first officer, and anyone else on the flight deck. It's preserving that absolutely vital record. So you see, it's not just a random collection of radios bolted onto a plane. It's this deeply integrated network. The audio control panel is how the pilots interact with it, the REU is the central hub that makes it all work together, and that whole suite of radios, VHF, HF, SATCOM, they're the links to the outside world, making sure that plane is never, ever alone. It's a pretty wild thought, isn't it? Thanks to this incredible, redundant, multi-layered network, a modern airliner is always in touch. It's wrapped in this invisible blanket of communication from the second it pushes back from the gate to the moment it arrives. It really is a connected sky.